طريقة الصحبة والخير في الجمعية. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فتة العمل بربهم وزدهم هدى. صدق الله العظيم. Allah Azze ve Celle en sevdiği insanlar.
Who are the ones Allah Almighty loves the most?
Genç insanlar.
The ones who Allah Almighty loves the most are the youngsters.
İmanlı olanlar.
It is those young people who are pious and who have faith in Allah Almighty.
Takva sahibi olanlar.
It is those who have piety.
Onlar Allah Azze ve Celle'nin sevdiği insanlardır.
Allah Almighty loves those young people who are fearful of Him, who are pious, and who have strong faith in Him.
Çünkü gençken daha fazla şeytan kuvvetli oluyor.
When you are young, Shaitan will be more challenging against you.
Kendini, nefsini zapt etmek daha zor olduğu için.
And when you are young, it is more difficult for you to withstand Shaitan and to withstand the desires of your ego.
Onun nefsine mücadele edip nefsini yenen gençler, Allah yolunda olan gençler.
Therefore, Allah Almighty loves those young people who follow His way, regardless of their egos, and who are successful in maintaining and withstanding their egos and controlling their egos despite their young age.
Allah'ın en sevdiği kullarıdır.
And it is those Allah Almighty loves the most among His servants.
Yaşlılar artık emekli olmuş, ondan sonra
elderly people on the other side, they have already retired.
Başlıyor namaza yapmaya.
And then they start, due to their growing age, to begin praying.
Onlar da iyidir de.
This is also good, of course.
Onların fazileti gençlerin hiç esamesi okunmaz onların şeyi.
But they may never obtain the blessings a young person who withstands his ego and who follows the way of his ego despite his young age and despite his ego's desires.
Gençler Allah'ın sevdiği o yolda olan insanlar.
Therefore, the people Allah Almighty loves are the young ones, are the youngsters who follow Allah Almighty's way despite their ego's desires and despite their young age.
Allah yolunda olan insanlar, Allah aşkıyla yoluna, bu yolda devam edenler, onlar Allah'ın sevdiği kullardır.
And those who follow Allah Almighty's way, and those who have the love and who are incited and encouraged by the love of Allah Almighty inside their hearts, and instead of following Shaitan, instead of following their ego's desires, they follow Allah Almighty's way, they are the ones who Allah Almighty loves.
Sevdiği kul, Allah'ın sevdiği kul, evliya kul sayılır.
And the ones who Allah Almighty loves are considered to be friends of Allah Almighty, because the awliyaullah are the ones whom Allah Almighty loves.
Yani veli dediği Allah'ın sevdiği sevgili kuludur.
An awliya, a wali, a friend of Allah Almighty, is someone whom Allah Almighty loves.
Onun için bu yolda giden insanlar zor, her türlü şey var.
It is difficult to follow the way of Allah Almighty because there are all kinds of challenges and obstacles.
Bu zamanın kötülükleri.
In particular, during these times we now live in, there are all kinds of badnesses.
En kötüsü de genç yoldan çıkmış olanlar.
And the greatest of all dangers and the worst of all things, which are the greatest threat for youngsters, are fellow young people who have gone astray.
Çünkü onlar karşı yolda olanları da yoldan çıkarmaya uğraşırlar.
Because fellow friends who have gone astray and who do not follow Allah Almighty's way are a threat to those who have faith, because they will try to attract youngsters with faith and to pull them to their side.
Yoldan ne hikmetse kötü arkadaş derler, şeytandan bin beterdir.
Bad friends are worse 1,000 times than shaitan.
Şeytan bir zarar verirse o bin zarar verir.
Shaitan may do one damage, one harm to you, but a bad friend may do 1,000 harms to you.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us.
Çok bu zamanın şeyleri, o tür insan çoktur. Onun için Allah
In the times we now live in, unfortunately, there are many such bad friends.
Azze ve Celle'nin yolunda giden genç zor bir yolda gidiyor.
Therefore, it is not an easy way for a youngster, for a young person, to follow the way of Allah Almighty these days.
Ama onun zorluğunun da karşılığı çok büyük.
But there is a great reward waiting for the young person who follows Allah Almighty's way, regardless and despite all these challenges.
Fazilet, çok büyük sevaplar, çok büyük iyilikler olacak.
Allah Almighty will reward the young person who followed Allah Almighty's way abundantly with His rewards and His gifts and His blessings.
Dünyada da olur, ahirette de olur.
And you will be obtaining these divine favors and gifts for following Allah Almighty's way in this world as well as certainly in the hereafter.
Doğru yolda giden insan, Allah yolunda giden insan dünyada da rahattır.
The one who follows Allah Almighty's way and follows Allah Almighty's orders will also find peace not only in the hereafter but also in this world.
Kötü yolda giden insanlar devamlı zarardadır.
Those who follow the bad way are in a state of constant loss and damage.
Dünyada da zarardadır, ahirette de zarardadır.
And they will be losers in this world as well as in the hereafter.
Onun için Allah yolu nur yoludur.
The way of Allah Almighty is the way of light.
Güzel yoldur.
It is the way of beauty.
Hayırların yoludur.
It is the way of goodness.
Faydadır. Her türlü fayda var.
It is the way of all kinds of blessings and benefits.
Ama yoldan çıkan insan için her türlü tehlike, her türlü zarar var.
Those who live this way, however, must know that they are facing and moving towards a way full of dangers and threats.
Allah muhafaza etsin gençlerde.
May Allah Almighty protect and preserve the youngsters and the elderly as well.
Gençler onların artık daha fazla ihtimam, daha fazla dikkat etmeleri lazım.
Youngsters need to be very careful and pay attention.
Kimden gidiyor, kimden geliyor arkadaşı.
And they should be very cautious about who they accompany and who they take as friends.
Biraz şey varsa ona dikkat edip ondan uzak durmak en iyisi.
And the best you can do is to be fully aware of your friends, and if you see that a friend may not be good to you and may threaten or harm your faith, it is better for you to stay away from him.
Ne olursa olsun onun gösterişine bakmayın.
Do not let yourselves be deceived by the shows and the way your friends may present themselves to you.
Gösterişi beş para etmez.
Your friends will try to show off, and they will try to convince you in following them, and they will try to present themselves and as something special or boast about themselves, but do not let yourselves be deceived by and cheated by their shows.
Kendine zarar verir, sana da daha fazla zarar verir.
They, with their show, they only harm themselves, and they will also harm you if you follow them.
Allah şerlerden muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us from evil and badness.
Allah hidayet versin.
And may Allah Almighty grant and provide us with His guidance.
İnşallah. Tevfik. El-Fatiha.